Good evening to all you wisdom walkers out there. Want to be wisdom walkers as well? Going to be wisdom walkers. This is Jojo Pye coming to you with Wisdom Walk Talk. And as always, I'm going to start us off by opening up with an honoring of the ancestors. And I invite you to join me and participate in my invocation. I always start out with honoring my two teachers who are now ancestors, and that's Malidoma and Sobonfu Some. And so think about those persons who have crossed over, who are in the land of the ancestors or beyond, that you would like to have access to their support, their love, their guidance, and their wisdom as we navigate these incredibly chaotic and challenging times of 2025. So here we go. Creator, Mother, Father, God, Source, all the one, all that is. May the ancestors hear our prayers. Ancestors, 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 we call out to you at the opening of 2025 and ask you to enable us to value and understand acceptance and non-attachment as our rod and our staff for moving through this already awesomely painful Earth year. Guide us safely through our personal and collective challenges and enable us to trust that everything is happening for a divine reason, which we cannot yet fully understand. Grant us the ability to practice negative capability, which means embracing uncertainty and mystery without seeking out facts or reasons. And Creator, through the ancestors, continue to grant us access to our higher timeline, where we know that unconditional love is the ultimate reward for our self-mastery. Continue to give us the strength and courage to honor this new age and new earth consciousness, daring greatly to live out our new narratives and knowing that these are divinely scripted for ourselves and for our world. And most importantly, please continue to enable us to move forth from the dark ages of modernity by placing our heads below our hearts, valuing people over profits, and always, always choosing love over fear. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Amen. Ashe Hoasa Shinga Bismillah. And so it is. Ashe. So, welcome to Wisdom Walk Talk here on my YouTube channel, Wisdom Walk to Self-Mastery. I am your host and guide, Jojo Pye Maria and Saroma. My annual theme for 2025 is unconditional love is the ultimate reward for self-mastery. By choosing to master ourselves, we immediately embark on a journey to learn how to love ourselves. Yes, and unconditionally. Unconditional love, love beyond belief, is one of the greatest gifts that humans can receive and or give. By choosing to transform our attachment to what is external and temporal, to unlearn the superficial and complex lifestyle, to transcend victimhood and self-sabotage, reclaim our authentic self-knowledge, and validate our uniqueness through believing we are valuable and enough, then the rewards of unconditional love will be ours forever. Yes. So join me in this video as I guide you through the wisdom of our collective annual commitment, which is Transcend. And in this offering, I'm going to focus on how choosing to transcend attachment to the false self, the rational mind, and what is known from your past are what the journey to our happy endings demand. Ashe. Now, usually I'm also multicasting through Black Hole Radio, but they have been using Blog Talk Radio as their platform, which unfortunately went out of business at the end of January. So they're in the process of trying to find the right new platform, and they were hoping to be able to be back up around this time But it seems like a little glitch happened, and so they're looking for another one. They had found one they thought would be appropriate, but now they're shifting up. So I will keep you posted as they keep me posted as to when Black Hole Radio will be a part of my mix in what I'm doing. So thank you for your patience, those of you that prefer to listen in. Yeah, only. I want to start also by honoring Women's History Month. Last month was Black History Month. I was too sick. I couldn't do any videos for you, but we'll see what happens next year. But again, these are very important times for us to be conscious of all the contributions that women have made in history. And the reason, of course, we have to do this is because women, like other oppressed people, have been treated like they're second-class citizens. They're not a part of the dominance matrix as people may think. And so we are working on it. It's been over 100 years that women have had a right to vote. And that's not a long time. That's not a long time, folks. So there's still more to do to help change up people's minds and attitudes and understandings that women are also fully human and divine beings. So to all the women out there, including myself, thank you for being on the planet. And let's stay the course to make sure that we are choosing love over fear. Ashe. And as I said in my intro, that my theme for 2025 is unconditional love is the ultimate reward for self-mastery. And the 5 collective commitments that were gifted to me are transform, unlearn, which I promise I will be doing something on unlearn to make up for what I missed in February. In March here, it's time for transcend. And then reclaim and validate will be coming down the pike. And these collective commitments are a way for us to really participate in the collective consciousness, not unconsciousness, but consciousness, to raise up the vibration. Because the work that is being called for this time around, is for us to understand this is an inside-out job. An inside-out job. We have to take on healing our shadow, because what we are witnessing and experiencing is a projection of our own fears, our own unhealed trauma, unhealed wounds, misjudgments, and we have to do this from the inside out. Trying to address it externally only is not going to work. Yeah. So that's why you wisdom walkers are so powerful and so important in the mix right now of what is going on this planet. Ashe. So transcend. This is by choosing to transcend the higher timeline where unconditional love overflows. You will escape from victimhood and self-sabotage, because that's really what propels people to do things that are harmful to others and ultimately to themselves. When you play a victim in life, when you still believe that the world is out to get you, and you respond and react to everything from that belief system, yeah, it's not a good day. Absolutely. And so getting to this understanding of transcend, I believe foundationally, we have to really know here in the year 2025, we're not in 1945 or 1935, it's 2025. And that the lower timeline of the 5 senses is not the only reality that we have access to and that we need to be using for what is required in order for us to have peace, harmony, and just love on the planet. So here are my 2 quotes for you for tonight in this video. The first one is, transcendence is the power to be born anew, to make a fresh start, to turn over a new leaf, to begin with a clean slate, to enter into a state of grace, to have a second chance. And this is from Robert Fritz and the wonderful, powerful book called The Path of Least Resistance, which I highly recommend. In it, he actually talks about this shift in consciousness. It's so amazing because this book came out in the 90s, I believe, 80s or 90s. And like he just nails it in terms of what is going on and what we can do. So, Path of Least Resistance, Ashe. The next slide is from Alan Watts, author and philosopher. It's part of the Beat generation, Jack Kerouac and Allen Ginsberg and folks like that who are waking up to, wait a minute, there's got to be another way. And so Alan gets into Eastern philosophy. He actually starts practicing Buddhism. And he says, for man is always bound so long as he depends for his happiness on a partial experience. Joy must always give way to sorrow. Otherwise, it can never be known as joy. Yeah, that's pretty deep. That's pretty deep there. Yeah. So let's talk about self-transcendence. You know, Abraham Maslow is a really quite genius person looking at, psychology in terms of the mind and how we as humans develop. And he created this hierarchy of need, which they usually cut off when you get to self-actualization. But it's the basic things. You need food, shelter, and water. You need to feel like you belong. You need to feel like you can be capable, that you can contribute. Self-actualization is about self-mastery. But there's this next level that he talks about, and it gets into the spiritual intelligence. And it is about transcending the self, meaning that once you have gotten all your basic needs met, you know that you can contribute, you know you're a good person, it's time to really look at who am I really? Who am I really being? Because of course, we're developing out of our childhood and adolescence and young adulthood. And so we are imitating, or we are doing what it is that we think we have to do in order to belong, in order to feel loved, in order to feel normal, in order to feel capable, and most importantly, in order to really feel like we belong here. Yeah. So we get to a point, though, where we have to begin to discern between what is it that is really my truth versus a truth I've been handed, a truth that I'm imitating. What really works for me? Because all of us are very unique. There are no two of us that really are alike. We may be similar, but we are not the same. Even twins are not the same. They look the same, they may sound the same, but they're very different when it comes to who they really are. Absolutely. So what I want to do is take you through some of the self-transcendence things that I think are really important for us, especially right now with everything that is going on. And so let's start with this first one of transcend your attachment to the false self, which is what I was just talking about, that false self. And there's Miss Carmen. Hey, Carmen Ray, good to see you in the comments. Holding space, love it. So this one is really, really hard for us, folks. It really is, because we live in a culture where there are consequences when you don't go along with the program, when you're not following the status quo. And it can affect your basic needs. It really, really can. But I'm here to tell you that if you truly, truly want to be your authentic self and live authentically, You can do that, and you will be supported by the universe. And life does become easier. Easier in that instead of having to hold up what you think you're supposed to be doing, you really start to learn what you're really supposed to be doing. So you don't have to start off your day with what mask should I wear today. You actually are going to be able to do what it is you love to do in the way that you love to do it. Now, none of this comes without challenges. I unplugged from the matrix starting back in 1999. Yeah. So it's been over 25 years, really. And if I did need to do a job, I made sure I was working with people who could support me in the truth of who I was. Yeah. I didn't hide being a shamanic, sensitive empath. Um, you know, I showed up as that in an organization, and it really made a difference. It enabled me to bring something to the world that was unique, is unique because it still exists. A program, the Wisdom Walk, still is around. But I couldn't have done that and then given it over to someone who can carry it further than I can. I wouldn't have been able to do any of that if I hadn't made a decision to, I'm done wearing these masks. I just got to show up and be who I really am and how I really am, and have the expectation that I can get support. Yeah. So getting there, it's not an overnight process. It's definitely not an intellectual one. You go through a lot of dark night of the soul, but in the end, it's the only way that you can be. It's the only way you can live. Like there's no way I can go back to who I was at the beginning of 1999. I can't ever go back to that. And I'm grateful. And so it is a growth. It's a growth spurt. And I know that there's a lot of that going on right now because of what's happening in the planetary realm, which is always a message for us. So, things are aligning in a certain way. Things are being purged. We have to let go of things, and we're really being kind of, if you will, like organized into becoming more of the truth of who we are. So, yeah, transcend, a big one, big one, big one. So here's the next one I want to talk to you about. And it's the difference between your rational mind and the higher mind. Yeah. We kind of think that our rational mind is it. If I can think rationally, everything will be okay. Here's the problem. Your rational mind is based upon what you have experienced, okay? What you know is right, is wrong, is up and down. And mostly what you focus on with your rational mind is what went wrong, what isn't right, what you don't like, and how I need to make sure I don't get messy ever again. And I never can not be perfect. Yeah. So your rational mind wants things in order. It wants it linear. It wants it to go from A to Z. But that's not how the universe works. There's a higher intelligence going on, a greater order and direction that will override your rationality and your fears. Your fears are invested in your rational mind. And so the difference is when you have come to a point where you can't figure it out, where you don't know how to pay that bill, you don't know how to get that next job, you don't know where you're going to live when your house got burned up in seconds, you don't know what you're going to do. Your rational mind isn't going to be the only support you need in order to go forward. And this is where faith and trusting in a greater order and direction comes in. This is also where you can go up into that higher timeline and say, okay, what's the gift in all this? What's the treasure in this trouble? What's the treasure in this trauma? And when you do that, when you ask just that question, you're going into your higher mind. You're going into this higher state. And those of you who have watched and listened to me before, you know I love, love, love this picture because it just really shows like this is where it's really at. Yeah. And so become conscious of that, more conscious of that, that when you come to the end of your rational mind, you're figuring it out, analyzing, testing, or trying to make sense of what isn't rational. Yeah, you have to let that go. And you have to go up into the higher realm, into the higher state. Absolutely. And then last but not least, a really, really important one for the times we are in, which is transcend what you know for the unknown. This is all about surrender. This is all about, I really, really can't figure it out. So I have got to open myself up to learning. Absolutely. And Carmen said, what's the treasure in the trauma? Absolutely. And once we say that, once we put that up there, out there, this is kind of what happens. You're ready to step into a whole new world. You're ready to step into something unknown. And Hector says, say yes, absolutely. And is this scary? Yeah. This like, oh my God, is there going to be any foot down? Is there going to be any landing spot? What is going to happen? Absolutely. Daphne says it's quite refreshing once we get over the fear of it. Exactly. Exactly. But when you stand in that entrance point or at the start of the journey, it's scary. It's really scary. And I'm just emphasizing that because guess what? Courage is accepting the fear, but moving forward anyway. That's what courage is, having a strong, strong heart. And unless we do this, we are not going to be okay. If we try to think that, especially right now, let's just take climate change, that we can really figure this out, we're going to be in trouble. We really have to step into the unknown, and we have to open up to learning. And we have to have a confidence that we can respond in an appropriate way. And the same thing with everything that is disrupted and turned upside down right now. We are in the unknown. We're really stepping into an unknown. And, you know, the unknown is really what a wisdom walk is about. Yeah. When you go on your wisdom walk into these internal landscapes of fire, water, earth, mineral, and nature, you don't know. You don't know what's coming. But you trust, and especially because you set an intention that I am going to be better as a result of this. I am going to be more fulfilled. I am going to know more of how to access my happy endings in life because I am willing to face the unknown. And again, especially when what you've been doing, what you've been knowing no longer works. It's time for something new. Carmen says, yes, absolutely. Now, this isn't about you got to jump off a cliff. You know, I was single when I unplugged from the matrix. I didn't have any children to feed. I didn't have a home mortgage or anything like that, you know. So it's not about going crazy with it, although some people have. It's more about setting an intention that I really want to enter into a whole new world and learn more about what I need to know and understand so that I can have my happy endings. Absolutely. And that's what all this transcendence is about. This is how we get to arrive at our fulfillment in life. This is how we get to arrive at where we wake up in the morning and, okay, what do I need to do? Oh, yes, I'm going to do my purpose and I'm going to do it in this way. And I'm going to take care of myself while I'm doing my purpose because I know that I have to be healthy and I have to be strong. And that's mind, body, and spirit so that I can be on time. And that you have this wonderful, fluid routine to be able to do that. And if you need to have income coming in, generating income, it can come in a miraculous way. Trust me, I know. We can't imagine. And everything we need isn't about cash. It isn't about money or cryptocurrency. It really is about our connections and our relations to other people and how we've been or are being with them so that when we do need help, they want to give it. Yeah, absolutely. The stuff we were taught when we were children, but sometimes we forget. Sometimes we forget. But yes, so this work of getting to fulfillment, to our happy endings in life, is about we have to transcend that false self that's not authentic. We have to be able to know the difference between our rational mind and our higher mind when we are really connecting with a greater order and direction rather than trying to be in control of what we can't be in control of. And then, of course, this wonderful, wonderful opportunity to really be able and to give ourselves permission to step into the unknown, to become a master learner. Yeah. And all of that together will help us get to our happy endings. Yes. And fulfillment. And it's not dependent upon anybody else. It really is an inside out job. It's about you and what you're believing about you. So here's some contemplative questions for you in regards to this, for this personal growth opportunity. One, are you conscious of your false self and what occurred to reveal it to you? Yeah, I can remember when I had to face my false self. Yeah. For me, what happened was it wasn't working anymore. It wasn't bringing me right outcomes. Let me say that. Yeah. So, and if you're not aware of your false self, think about the times when you feel obligated to do something that really doesn't feel good. Yeah. Second, do you connect with intuition when making decisions? Why or why not? Because again, your rational mind will only take you so far. And three, what supports your ability to surrender what you think is the answer or outcome and open to learning the right answer or outcome? What supports you to do that? Yeah. For me, it's usually the 23rd Psalm. Lord is my shepherd, I shall not fail. Yeah, like I have to go in prayer. I have to get down on my knees and I have to pray, God, help me. But yeah, think about that. What are the supports? Really, really important. And Hector says, the only thing I can truly control is myself and my reactions. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I will put this contemplative exercise in the description box below the video, where I'll also put timestamps for you as well. Wonderful. So in April, God willing, if my health continues to stay as even as it's been for the last week, we will be talking about reclaim and how this is a very, very, very important collective commitment for all of us right now. Yeah, because we really have to grow into our self-knowledge and being self-referred, just like what Hector was just talking about. I can only control myself and my reactions. Ashe. Ashe. So I also want to share with you my quote from Miss Sara. And those of you who may not know, Miss Sara is the most amazing human being who I got to spend the last 3 years of her nonagenarian existence, meaning she was in her 90s. So she died at 96. I got to spend the last 3 years with her learning what it really means to be alive and to be a self-master. She was amazing. And so here's her quote for you. Don't keep talking about the problem. Focus on what you want. Amen to that. Ashe. Thank you, Miss Sara. And so I'm closing out tonight, as always, with a big thank you to all of you who watch, who listen, who share. I couldn't do this for as long as I've been doing it without you, without your willingness to be on the journey of self-mastery. Thank you for doing that, because when one of us gets free, we all get free. And that will never, ever, ever change. Yeah, absolutely. Now, coming in April, and like I said, I'll let you know what's going on with the radio broadcast. But I will be live streaming, again, God willing, the Elemental Wisdom on Sunday, April the 6th. Astrology for Self-Mastery for April will be on April 13th. And then the next Wisdom Walk, and that'll be about Reclaim, will be on April the 20th, right before Easter. I also want to just quickly share some promotions for my book, Wisdom Walk to Self-Mastery, Ancient Wisdom for Transforming Pain, still available through Amazon Kindle and places like Abe's Books, probably half-price books by now too, which would be great. Also, my dear friend and colleague, Juanita Roberson's book, The Underground Railroad, which he wrote with Amy Houghton, a 40-day journey to remembering soul and spirit, also available Amazon Kindle, Abe's Books, and others. And then my dear, sweet, sweet colleague, the great shaman, Queen Reverend Adara, who does these Heart for Healing service every first and third Wednesday of the month at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. She also has now a YouTube channel, which is Spirit is My Life. And you can check out her offerings there, because she's videotaping them, as well as experiencing a live event, which will be through Zoom, which you can get the information from that website, spiritismylife.com. And then, of course, last but not least, I want to thank my God, my ancestors, my spirit guides, my loving entities, everything that walks with me, keeps my head to the sky, my feet to the ground, and my heart open to do this important work with and for all of you. Now, elementally, we have a fire week that we're in, and we'll be going into a mineral week. So have a healthy and safe elemental time, being truthful, calling on your ancestors, and connecting to the souls of others. Now, continue to wear masks as needed to avoid airborne viruses and diseases. Of course, strengthen your immune system, avoid perceived safety and embrace science safety. Practice safe relating, very important. Wash those hands, especially after being out in public, or carry some of the alcohol with you if you come out of a grocery store or something. And most importantly, my darlings, please remember, you are not disposable. Why? Because you are divine. Good night now. See you again soon.